Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webisode of my story, where I tell my life story in 30-minute webisodes and just air it out. Okay, so trigger warning for this webisode. I'm going to be talking about some crazy stuff. I'm going to be talking about unaliving, stuff like that. So, yeah. Honestly, when preparing for this webisode, basically it's getting tough, and I wanted to unalive the whole series. Just delete it all. And I was like, it's very interesting that once I get to this part of my story, I want to unalive my story, because at this part of my story, I wanted to unalive myself. Now I look at myself today and all the work that I've done and all the stuff that I've gone through since. Myself today upholds myself then. It wants myself to live through those harsh things. It wants myself to be the little demon that I am. So, because it leads to who I am now, and it leads to, I think, a better, brighter future. I see a better, brighter future ahead for everyone. So I think that it's worth it. I don't know. No excuses, but yeah. So I did get ahead of myself with the child support episode. I don't know. I felt like I just wanted to put that in there. The way that the courts worked and everything. It was crazy. But during the time that we lived at the deer camp, and my mom lived next to us, and we were going to church all the time, and I was really getting into Christianity. Really, I really was. And, Jesus is in my heart, for sure. They say Jesus to be in your heart, and Jesus is in my heart. I love him. I love Christianity, and I love their stories, and I love everything, and we were starting to do, we were getting prepared for Bible school, and in preparing for Bible school, everybody, was pretty much on board, and I was teaching a class, and there was like this theme going on, and my husband was even going to be a part of it and helping out with the other guys and stuff with the church, and it was a lot of fun. And I know it doesn't sound bad, but then Bible school started, and we're doing it, and we're teaching the kids. I'm a part of it, and it's exciting. And then halfway through, somebody comes and tells my husband that his mother had died. And so he had to go up north to be with his family. And we asked my mom to watch the kids for us. And, we both had to abandon our role in BBS, which the church said they understood. But I asked my mom to babysit, and she was like, no. It's like, no way. And I'm like, that's why we have you close by, so that you can easily babysit. And she's like, well, I'm not gonna. And so I had to get my sisters to babysit, and that was like a big thing for Dave. Dave was so angry at my mother, and he was like, you need to tell her that when she gets back, she needs to have her camper off of our land. And yeah, But yeah, it was a tough time, you know? I'm not going to go through all the stuff that happens, but I don't know, it just sucks because I did love my mother-in-law. I really didn't get to know her much though either. Going to the funeral and going to the funeral with my kids, and I was like having like an anxiety attack, nervous breakdown, and this isn't a time that I should expect Dave to necessarily support me, but Dave, he made it worse, and it got to the point where we had this big fight the day of the funeral, and I refused to go, and he had to go without us because it was just so much. I don't know. I regret that. I wish that I wouldn't have had an anxiety attack. I wish I would have known why I have anxiety attacks. I didn't even know that back then. But lack of knowledge really does hurt. Ignorance is not always bliss. But yeah, so, and then after that, Dave talked to me and he was like, I think that it's because we're going to the church. He's convinced that he's cursed. And if he goes to the church, and he said it was as soon as he started actively getting involved and he said that that's how it'll happen every single time, that if he's in the church and if he gets involved, that someone he loves will die. And he could bring up 3. His best friend whenever he was a kid, his grandma, and now his mom. So, I don't know. I respected that, and basically Dave and I quit going to church. But for me, I have Jesus in my heart, and it's not going to matter if I go to church or not. So I started watching preaching on YouTube, and I would watch preaching on YouTube like every single day. And I got into the ones that were saying that, you have demons in you that have to be cast out, and you have a Jezebel spirit, or you have this spirit or that spirit has to be cast out. And I went to 2 separate, because I got that in depth. I asked Dave, I was like, I need to have these demons cast out of me. And this one I did on the phone, and she was like casting demons out of me. And then another one, I asked Dave if I could go to Arizona to this guy and get demons cast out of me. I did, and he said that I was like a hard case. And he was saying that I might need to stay there for like 6 months to a year or something. I was like, I can't do that. And during this time, I'm also in therapy, and I'm taking all kinds of medications, right? Like, they're constantly changing my medications up. And that is really what messes with me. I mean, sometimes, we need to change it up. Like, it's not at all what I need. And then whenever we find what we need, then they'll just change it up on you anyway. Or, like, you have to have so many a month. And I would keep up with mine. I would, I understand, like, I've seen other people, they would take them all in a week and then wonder why they don't have any. And I'm like, well, duh. For me, I would be going once a month, and then 1 month, all of a sudden, I can't get my pills. And it's like, okay, really mess with my mind. And I was going to therapy, and I don't know what happened. I think I did take too many pills, and I was fighting with Dave, and like most of our fights were about the kids. And I don't know, I couldn't take it no more. I went to the bathroom, and I slit my wrist, and I had done it as a teenager the wrong way, and everybody told me that that was the wrong way. And so this time, so I had to be put into the mental hospital, and I remember my family saying, "Don't tell my grandma and grandpa." So I felt like it was like something I had to hide. Like, I don't know. It was the first time I ever felt like I had something. Like, I want to be an open book. I don't know. I prefer to be an open book. But I feel like being thrown in the mental hospital is something to hide. But this day wasn't like the first day. It was a lot different. And basically, I was working with the staff and the doctors. I wanted to get to the bottom of what's wrong with me, because I knew something was wrong with me. Something is fundamentally wrong with me. I think that after I wasn't able to make the funeral, and that big fight that Dave and I had, it was like the straw that broke the shame camel's back, you know? Like, there's like such deep shame that I was just holding for so many years for being wrong, because I am wrong. That's obvious to me. It's not obvious to others. I try to hide that I'm wrong, which makes sense why it's not obvious to others that there's something fundamentally wrong with me. Like, I shouldn't have had that anxiety attack like that. I shouldn't have had the need for someone to comfort me at that time. So there's obviously something wrong with me, and like, I can't get a job unless it's scamming people. So there's obviously something wrong with me. You know, I struggle with things that other people don't struggle with. So there's obviously something wrong with me, and yet everybody's like, no, you're fine. It's not real. There's obviously something wrong with me, guys. And they would say, well, think about your kids. And that's really what would trigger it, because I would think about my kids. I'd be like, oh no, there's something fundamentally wrong with me that I know that I have that nobody else realizes. I'm going to mess up my kids. This isn't an if, an and, an or, this isn't you could fix it in time to not mess them up. No, you're out of time. There's something, you've realized that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. There's something wrong, there's something off, and nobody can see it, so they can't help you with it. Nobody can see it, so nobody can help you with it. And you're not worthy of help. You're worthy of shame for having it. So there's nothing that you can do to fix it. You're wrong, and you're going to mess up your kids because of it. And that really, it triggered it, because, okay, well, what's more traumatizing? Having a mom that's so fundamentally wrong and can't be helped because you can't realize the wrongness, or having a dead mom? I think having a dead mom is less traumatizing than having a mom like me. And I thought that with the core of my being. And I didn't know how to explain it to anyone. I don't even know if I have fully explained it here, but I've tried. So this time, I wasn't joking around making sister wives and you have high anxiety. I was talking to the doctor and to the nurses about my wrongness and how we can fix it. So they told me, they diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder. And this gave me hope. I was so happy leaving the mental hospital. My husband had come to pick me up. My dad came with me, and I was like, "You came?" And they're like, "Yeah. Let's go out to eat." Okay. I have a diagnosis. There is something wrong with me. I have borderline personality disorder. And now we can make a map and we can figure out a way to fix it so that I can be a good mom and I won't be more traumatizing than a dead mom. Yay! Right? This is happy. This is exciting. This is hope. This is what it's about, right? Yeah. And, I got my cocktail of pills, my pill cocktail. So we're going to be taking our pill cocktails and doing our roadmap to healing. They told me my diagnosis, borderline personality disorder, is the easiest to heal. Of all the personality disorders, it's the only one possible for healing and that people have healed from. So that is happy. That's happy and that's good. So, yay, right? Yay! And I got my therapist. I'm going to continue to see her. Now I get to see her with the diagnosis and work with that. Exciting. So, yeah. So, before this, my therapist and I were doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And now whenever I saw her, she did not like, this was a shock to me. My therapist did not like the diagnosis. And she's like, we'll just work around that. Okay, work around it, whatever. It's the map. Come on, lady, get on board. But she said, well, I think that if it's borderline personality disorder, that the best thing to do is dialectical behavioral therapy. And this is different. It is different. Basically, in cognitive, you're like reaching down and going, digging there all up all the dirt, everything, and going through it. Kind of what I'm doing with these. And dialectical behavioral therapy is more like understanding black and white thinking and then bringing in the gray. Mixing the black and white thinking into grayness is how I would describe it. I think I got those two right? It might be the other way around. But yeah, so we started working with that. More black and white thinking, that I was no longer having to journal my sads and all that stuff. Now it was more black and white thinking and where's the gray? And how to recognize black and white thinking in my life. What went on for the week and where were you black and white thinking in it and stuff like that. So, and I was on a bunch of pills still. But it was not all happy because once I got home and I started to do research on my own, you know how we are, you know how it is. You go on the Google and like I'm researching information to be able to tell my partner how to handle my diagnosis, and like everything's telling him run. You got you a BPD girl, get away. That's the best advice, is like you need to leave her. Which makes sense. I mean, it made sense for me. Perfectly made sense. I threw a fit on the day of his mother's funeral. I refused to go. Yeah. And online. Ooh. Online can be mean. Sad too. And then you connect to the people, the other people that have BPD, that have been given this BPD diagnosis. And they explain their experiences and you resonate. Oh, Lord. It can go deep. And I think you can resonate with a BPD story and just be empathic. But yeah, it can get really sad. The fear of abandonment that causes you to push everyone away so that they abandon you. Ugh. That one's awful. Ugh. But yeah, the hopeful light at the end of that tunnel went out pretty quickly. And then it just kind of became, well, there's something wrong with me. Dave realizes he can't do college. He had his own mental breakdowns. And he gets referred to a school out of state to get a license to operate heavy equipment. So he goes out of state to work for to go to school for a couple months and get his license to operate heavy equipment. So he was gone, and it was a peaceful time at home. I enjoyed that. And at the time, we had a neighbor who had land on the highway, and he was saying that he wanted to make a gas station there, and he needed someone to write up the spreadsheets and budgets and stuff. And that's what I'm good at. I'm good at stuff like that. I'm like really good at stuff like that. And I really can't really get a job, so I was like, would you hire me? You know? And he was like, yeah, but you gotta show me what you can do. So I did this spreadsheet up, and he was like, that's pretty good, but can you do this, this, and this, and move things around? I did, and then he was like, okay, cool. He was like, all right. And so he wasn't paying a lot, but he didn't have to pay a lot. Just a couple $100 would help, which if Zach would pay his child support, a couple $100 would help, but that's not the point. I shouldn't have to rely on his child support. That's the way I see it. I don't care what y'all say. He shouldn't have to support those kids. He doesn't care about them. I cared about them. I would support them. But for me, it was just about keeping that back child support on board, because if not, he can take me to custody court. But as long as he owes back child support, that's not going to work. So that was what's important for me. So the fact that he wasn't paying was happy. Every time I don't get a check from him, I was like, yay, you know, while he's telling everybody, oh, she's taking all my money, and meanwhile not getting no checks. But anyway, I start working for the neighbor who says he's going to put a gas station on the highway, which there used to be a gas station there. So it's realistic. It's a realistic thought, you know, and this guy is like, his parents were like part of the community that we live in big time, and they have like a bunch of cows and stuff, a bunch of land. So he was paying me a couple $100 a week to do secretary type work for preparing for this gas station. And things were going pretty well for a while. And Dave got back with his license, and he started working with a construction crew. And yeah, things were looking up for the holiday season. Yeah, this was the beginning of the holiday season, and I don't think Zach was around this year, and it was like one of the years I had a lot of money, a lot of extra money to be able to buy the girls a good Christmas. And it felt like things were starting to look up. So that's where I'm going to end today, because I want to end on a good note with things looking up. I thank you all so much for listening and watching my story. I hope that it's fun and exciting for you. I know this one was a tough one. And, yeah, I might put some unalive prevention stuff in the comments below, because it is a serious thing. And people, whenever you go through hardships, I just want to put this as a disclaimer. Whenever you go through hardships and you think that it can't be solved or can't be fixed, you're wrong. As long as you're breathing, you can find a solution. That's one of my mottos that I live by now. So I hope that you can you can hold on to that. I do understand the pain of wanting to not be alive anymore, and it's real. It's real, and it's okay to seek help, and it's possible to find hope and to find a reason to live. It's possible no matter how far down you've gone. It's possible to turn around and find a path out. Just have to be willing. I'm going to put some prevention stuff in the link below for this one. But for real, I know it's tough. I just hope that, yeah, people understand. I do understand the value of life, and life is valuable. Anyways, this one's a tough one, I know. Thank you guys so much for putting up with me. Thank you for watching this far. As always, be blessed with love. That's all. Wait a minute. No, that's not all she got. She got a little bit to say just here at the end. So hold on, folks. I just want to say really, really quick, I've got an exciting opportunity to share with you. As a student and a content creator, I pour my heart and my soul into each and every video. And I absolutely love bringing you all along on my crazy adventures. But you know, creating quality content requires a lot of time, effort, and resources. But that's where you can come in. If you enjoy my videos and want to share your support, I've set up a few ways for you to contribute and become an even more integral part of the Mystic Hillbilly community. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me to continue doing what I love most. First of all, I have a few donation options available to you. If you'd like to make a one-time contribution, you can find the links to my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal in the video descriptions. And every single donation, no matter how big or small, truly makes a difference and allows me to create even more exciting content for you all. But wait, there's more. I'm thrilled to introduce to you my Patreon membership, where for only $5.55 a month, you can gain access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content and outtakes from all my videos. As a Patreon supporter, you'll get to see all the edits and behind-the-scenes bloopers that didn't make it in the final cut. It's like having a VIP pass to the Mystic Hillbilly editing room. This is really something special for all my haters out there. As a member, you'll gain access to hours of footage of me making mistakes, doing everything wrong, and just having an all-around hilarious time. So, haters, if you ever want to see me in my most human, this is your golden opportunity. So, whether you choose to become a member or make a donation, know that your support is deeply appreciated. I genuinely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this amazing journey with me. Your positive energy and contributions mean everything to me. Before I go, I just want to take a moment to say that I pray that every blessing sent my way is multiplied and returned to the sender tenfold. May success find their way into your lives as you've brought them into mine. Thank you all so much for your support, and until next time, stay adventurous, stay curious,
And always remember to keep the mystic in you alive. And now, that's all she got.